All right. I know a lot of you are a little confused about the last field study, so here's a video to help you get started with your field study for Unit 2. This one I think of as the fun one. You get an excuse to go out and observe your favorite place in the whole world, whether it's your backyard, a park, maybe it's a place up in the woods, wherever you choose. But you do need to do some observing. I know in the past I've had students come back and say, I went up to the creek and I saw a crow and there were some trees. That is not good enough. So I'm going to go through this with you today, and then I'm also going to attach an example of some excellent work from last year's class so that you'll have something to shoot for to understand what it is that I'm expecting from you for this assignment. So first of all, you need to select where you are going to go watch. That's up to you, but do choose an area. Then do take notes. Do draw maps. Do make sketches. Pictures are awesome. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Showing me a picture of where it is that you are looking at is the best way. Do make a rough map. Show me where the bodies of water are, the major landforms, if there's a cliff or a mountain in there. Also, if you can take pictures of some of the wildlife you see, that's great too. You'll need to describe the location and the limits of it. If you happen to have a GPS in your phone, you can give me the longitude and latitude of it. And then answer all those questions about your site in that field study report. Okay, number 2, you'll need to discuss the abiotic factors. And including what type of soil. Is it really sandy? Is it really rocky? Is it got good soil? Do a little research. Look at what kind of rocks there are. Are you looking at basalt, a lava flow? Are you looking at granite mountains? Are you looking at sand? What kind of temperature you have, both on the day or days you visit, and then in general. Amount of sunlight the site receives. If you're in a very forested area, you're not going to get the same amount of sunlight as if you were in the middle of an open plain. The table below gives you some guidance of some things to look at, but don't necessarily think that if I get the table full, that's it. Okay, you'll need to do some research. Go to the U.S. Geological Service and you can find out something about the soils and rocks in that area. You'll need to go to the internet. Weather Underground or AccuWeather are great resources to find out what your seasonal averages are, and you can include that, not just on the day or days you're there, because a day in October is not the same as a day in July or February. And then draw me a rough topographical map of the area, including water that is either standing in like a pond or water that's flowing, whether it's a creek. Then answer those questions in that field study report that you will turn in. Third, since I'm a biologist, I kind of like this part. Look at the living things that are in your ecosystem, and that is just not major mammals. I had a lot of reports last year that said they saw deer and rabbits, and that was it. Okay, those deer and rabbits have something to eat. So tell me about what plants are growing there. Tell me, lift up a couple of rocks. Are there any worms? Are there any insects? Are there any fungus growing on those trees? Look around, investigate. This is a study. This isn't a cursory look, okay? Then you'll need to go to your local library or hit the internet to try and identify some. Okay, you don't need to do every single item because that would be impossible, especially if you chose a large area. But again, if you just come back and say, I saw a crow and a deer, that's not good enough. Okay, that is just casually looking. That's not investigating. Okay, the last section is question 4, and that requires you to think. You need to think about what kind of ecosystem you are looking at. What kind of organisms should be able to live here, but that you didn't observe? That doesn't mean that they aren't necessarily there. Maybe you just are at the wrong time of year. Maybe they're seasonal visitors. Or maybe they've been eradicated for some reason. Maybe there was too much pressure from competition from an invasive species. And it doesn't have to be a major mammal. Just because you don't see a deer, you don't have to choose deer. You could look at other organisms. I know I went and took a class this summer on bats, and was surprised to find out that the Mexican free-tailed bat should be able to live in Idaho. The environmental conditions are right, the habitat is right, they should be able to exist here, but they aren't. And that's something that some biologists are looking at. You know, are there different predator-prey interactions going on? Is there competition going on? You know, why? Anyway, that's a short introduction to the field study. If you have questions about it, send me a K-mail. And again, you can refer to that sample that I'm sending out. The sample I'm sending out is an excellent one. And in fact, I gave them some bonus points because of how thoroughly and completely they did their report. Anyway, have fun out in the wild the next couple weeks.